Hello, awesome people. I hope that you are having just an absolutely amazing day today. Today I thought it would be nice to take a look at the expanded edition from Ed Greenwood's 1988 novel, Spellfire. He's the guy who created the Forgotten Realms saga, and he sold it to Dungeons & Dragons when they were looking for a competitor to Dragonlance. They thought it would be a little bit better, more fleshed out, more popular with fans, and that sort of a thing. So they bought him from for just $50,000, and he sent him all his notes, and that's sort of a thing that he'd been running since before Dungeons & Dragons became a game. And then the only agreement was that they would start selling his novels, and that sort of a thing. So they started publishing his novels. Dark Walker on Moonshade from Douglas Niles was pretty good, and it had sold lots of money. And then the Crystal Shard and the Ari Salvatore Dark Elf series at Stars Drist is pretty good stuff too. That one I find we went back and reread for this channel for you folks. So next is this one. This is the only I haven't gone back and reread any Douglas Niles though, but I do regularly sometimes go back and reread this stuff too, and then the Pool of Radiance, the Pools trilogy, Pool of Radiance, Pool of Darkness, and Pool of Twilight, if I remember correctly, are the order of that one too, and then that's pretty much it. I don't typically go back and reread the Forgotten Realms stuff. Just heads up. All right, so he submitted this. He told him to show off the realms, and so he did. But when he went to go read it, he said it had been cut down massively, and that sort of a thing. So this was his attempt to sort of reestablish himself in the original novel. It didn't sell super well, and that sort of a thing. So this is a trilogy. But it wasn't published until 2004 from after 88 from this one. Right, that's a long time. Right, their original plan was that he was going to be writing a novel a year for TSR. When TSR was going through financial ruin, he actually offered his services to them again and said, hey, I'm happy to do this for you on the cheap, right? And that sort of thing. They never got back to him, but after Wizards of the Coast bought out the thing and took it over, I reached out to him, and he got to start writing for him. He's written tons of Forgotten Realms books and stuff like that too. So I thought it'd be fun for me to go back and reread Spellfire for you guys in this channel, especially leave this in expanded version. I'll link it to you in the comments below. Alright, so basically, and again, my spoilers, my reviews are more free, so I don't typically do a deep dive, but basically, we have two primary characters. Our first primary character is Chandra Cheshire. She is a Mormon who works at an inn. She was brought there by the guy who owns the Euphoria folks. It's in his family, and that sort of thing. So Buddy bought it and restored it, and that sort of thing. And he brought her with him when he came. She mostly works in the kitchen. She's constantly attacked in a physical attack by the cook, whom she doesn't like at all, Corvin, and that sort of thing. She's great friends with Lorraine, the person who's the waitress for the rising moon that she works in. Then she's always constantly wanting to leave and get in an adventure. She hasn't even seen outside her little dome. She calls it a prison. And then she's constantly getting people coming in. That's her world. And then they find out one day, Norm is the second character. He is the apprentice for a wizard who is not that great. He's definitely vain, definitely one. He definitely constantly complains and wants his apprentice to do so much extra stuff for him, and is constantly complaining at him. So his title is Most Magnificent. Anyway, so he's pretty. So he is the only apprentice for this because nobody wants to stay with this guy for very long, but he's poor, so he has to stay, and an orphan, so he has to stay with him. They'll arrive at the inn on the same day as an adventurer party comes in, and that sort of a thing. He will wink at her and so forth when she's coming in to look at the adventurers. Then one of them, the thief, will try to steal from somebody else, a local. He will catch him and then kill him. The party wants their vengeance, but they get talked, from it because they're like, he stole. So she steals some of their things as well in order to ingratiate herself as the thief character that she wants to join. And then they negotiate, and then she takes over the thief's role with it. So that's basically the key parts of what's happening. And then Norm and his wizard master will go out to Myth Draenor, where he needs to go to find a bunch of... He's not somebody who's really that strong at battling. So they're going to go there and then get a bunch of magic. They get stopped on the way by some knights of Myth Draenor, told that the devils have now taken over the area. The summoned creatures, like demons, only lawful evil, and they have taken over the area, and they drive him back. But he says, okay. So they leave. Then he comes through from another side of things because he doesn't believe them. And then they are killed. His assistant Norm is almost killed and that sort of thing, but he's actually captured and released, but he's constantly dreaming of devils and that sort of thing. So he needs to go back in order to put his dreams at rest. He knows it's going to be likely his death. He doesn't want to avenge his master. He just knows it's the next thing he needs to do. Meanwhile, Shandles is a party, the night of the spears, the bright spear and such. So they head out, and they are attacked by a giant party of people. Most of them are killed. She survives. She's captured because they believe that she'll be a great sacrifice because she's a virgin. She escapes from her prison, and then she winds up in a dark place and so forth. And then she gets captured by some people that are members of the cult of the dragon, for you folks, which we'll find out lots more about. And then she'll wind up doing some stuff. So that's basically the first few chapters, and maybe the first 30 or 40 pages of what's happening in this book. So I knocked it out. Then, because it's oversized, I figured that it would take me a little longer, so I just knocked it on a flight on the way there, way back, and such. So I just knocked it out. It will take about 4 days of reading, if that makes sense, but most of it was flying. It was a longer flight too, so it would take you probably a little longer. So if you want to read these, you can sort of luxuriate and that sort of thing. I do like this. I think it's pretty good, and so forth. Like I said, him, the Pools trilogy, and the R.A. Salvatore stuff are the only things I go back and read. This book in particular, I do have a softness for it. And that sort of thing. And in the expanded edition, they do add a lot, but I didn't really notice anything else. So that's it. So I'm probably going to be missing it out there for you folks. It's good stuff, level lots. Alrighty. So there you are. That is Spellfire, the expanded edition by Ed Greenwood for you folks. It's originally from 1988. So there you are. So if you like that, So again, I've just finished reading this and that sort of a thing. I've also done, like I said earlier, the series of about 10 books in the Story series by R.A. Salvatore for you folks. So if you like that, you'll check that out. I've also recently done a bunch of reviews of older first editions or backbeat modules for you folks on Mondays. Check those out too. Or if you just like to read my reviews, that's fine too. I'm not going to lose any sleep. Alrighty. So there you are. And so if you like these older things, I try to do 3 reviews a week of older novels, in this case, short stories, or poems sometimes too, or novellas, for this channel in the older sort of space that this has. So if you like that, check that out. I think you'll like that much. And there you are. So also, as you can tell from all of these older things, that's also where my the title of the channel, and also the passion too, and also my strengths, because I'm definitely somebody who enjoys these older things. The title of the channel even is "The Worst Thing About New Books." Is a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? And this is definitely smaller stuff. 88. Alrighty. It's decades ago. I might have forgotten about. So we sort of forgot the Soldiers of Giants and that sort of thing. Not that the new stuff's bad, but just in our pursuit of the new, we've forgotten it. Also, like I mentioned before, my first strength is context. For example, Gary Gygax in his first edition Dungeon Master's Book, he mentions Appendix M. And these are all the things that influenced his game. So I went back and checked it out. And I much appreciate it more seeing me going back and reading the references. Make sense? So for those reasons, I think there's great stuff out there, great ideas, and that sort of thing. So again, I think you'll like that too, if that's your thing, if that's your passion in life. Alrighty, so there you are. Thank you so very, very much, for taking just some time out of your day and investing it, right, and watching my videos, because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent that time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.